In replay. Shh, I'm live streaming. There's about to be a bunch of people on here. We're gonna wait for everybody to join first. I'm gonna wait for the notifications to go out and sent to everybody. Anybody watching us on replay, hello, hello, hello. We're about to get into some earnings craziness here very momentarily. So I'm just letting everybody join. The notification just went out for this live stream. So we got a whole bunch of market craziness about to happen. And I thought we would do a little ghetto stream, Jeremy's ghetto stream. So welcome into the ghetto stream, folks. Thanks so much for joining me. And yeah, we got some craziness about to happen here. So, wow, Nasdaq down 337 points at the low today. How about that? Wow. Hello, 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 hello to everybody. Just finally getting that notification and joining us in here. Hope everybody's doing great as always. Much love. We got possibly the craziest earnings day of the entire year going on right now. So I thought we'd go ahead and just do a Jeremy's Ghetto stream. And we're going to talk about these earnings live as they come out. We got Apple reporting. We got Microsoft reporting. We have Google McDougal reporting. Those are $3 trillion plus companies. We got S-Bucks reporting. We got Visa reporting. So it's a holy smokers, this ain't no jokers type earnings day here, folks. And so I thought, let's do a Jeremy Ghetto live stream here. And so hello guys, hello to everybody joining in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope everybody's doing great as always out there. We got yeah, we got a whole bunch of craziness. It was a rough one in the market today. I mean, not super rough. I mean, it was, you know, smaller caps had some trouble. 24 calls, woo, only about 6 weeks away from those coming out. And I mean, things are going exactly as planned as far as, you know, those calls go. So everybody joining in, hello, hello, hello. We got earnings craziness about to happen. Apple earnings, Microsoft earnings, Google McDougal earnings. We have Visa, we have Starbucks, plus other companies as well. So it's earnings craziness. That's the bottom line. It's earnings craziness. And my gosh, I hope you guys are ready for what's about to happen here. You know, Apple, they should have extremely strong iPhone numbers. If they give any guidance, that should be strong as well. The issue with Apple is that stock's been a beast. It's been climbing, 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 and the expectations are really big for Apple. By the way, Apple should be the last earnings we get of this bunch. Google, Microsoft, Visa, Starbucks should all report before Apple. Apple will likely be the last. And they deserve to be last because, man, they're the big dog. They're the big dog of the stock market, man. They're the biggest beast of them all. So they get to kind of, you know, have their own time when they kind of report. So, yeah, anyways, hope you guys are doing well as always. Thanks for joining me on this, we call it the Jeremy Ghetto live streams, straight from my phone, talking about real time, my reactions to these earnings. Oh, already an earnings alert. Already an earnings alert. Oh, boy. Oh, wait. Why they play with me like that? They said an earnings alert, and then they say awaiting blah, blah, blah earnings. Like, don't call it an earnings alert, man. They got me all going. Microsoft's moving down a little bit already after hours, down about 2%. So, you know, and the thing is, why do these big earnings matter so much? If you're wondering, the reason these earnings matter so much, guys, is like these big tech companies, they move the whole market. Like the whole market's going to move depending upon, you know, if these earnings are great. Get ready for the Nasdaq to pump hard tomorrow, right? If these earnings aren't you know, that great, or don't surprise to the upside, or guidance isn't that great, get ready for the Nasdaq to be down 1%, 2%, 3% tomorrow, things like that. So these are some things to keep in mind. By the way, I hope you guys are enjoying this. If you don't mind, smash the like button. That's all I ask for. You know, doing this little live stream. I appreciate you guys being here and joining me today. Like I said, for anybody just joining us in, we got Apple earnings, Microsoft earnings, Google earnings, Visa earnings, Starbucks earnings, plus other stocks as well. But man, I mean, it doesn't get bigger than this. You know it's a big earnings day if I'm doing a Jeremy Ghetto live stream. That's all I'll say about that. You know it's a big earnings day. So the numbers that are about to come out here, they'll move the market. You know, there's no doubt about that. And the big tech has been the one thing really, really holding up strong recently. A lot of the travel plays have been faltering big time, right? We've seen it, like pretty much anything travel related has been run into a lot of trouble last couple months as kind of Rona's kind of come back, right? And kind of everybody's talking about Rona again. A lot of the smaller cap companies, higher growth, more speculative companies, a lot of those stocks are down, 30, 40, 50 plus percent. China, oh my gosh, the China numbers, the China numbers, the Chinese stocks. A lot of those China stocks have been in a bad place. I don't own any of those, but man, I've seen the the stock charts on a lot of those, and it's just not good, right? And so these are things to kind of keep in mind here. But yeah, look at Alibaba. Alibaba's down to 186 now. Wow. Look at that, guys, down to 186. My gosh. Wow. Whew. That stock's just been having a tough time, needless to say. Wow. And then, that's a lot of those Chinese stocks are a lot worse than that. So Microsoft's now down 2.2% after hours, which is not always the best omen when, it's already moving down like that before the earnings are even out. So, but yeah, for those just tuning in, we have Apple earnings coming right now. We have Microsoft earnings coming, Google earnings, Visa, and Starbucks. So Visa's market cap has pushed up huge over the last few years. So, Visa in itself can move a lot of stocks. Visa, I think, is a $400 billion market cap now, or some insane number. I'm going to look real quick here at Visa's market cap because, that stock has just been such a beast over time. Let's see, Visa. No, Visa's up to 550. Visa's up to $550 billion market cap. I remember when I got started in the stock market, there was nothing. That was a $550 billion market cap. What do we got? We got earnings alert. Microsoft revenues beat. So Microsoft beat by about $2 billion on revenues. Nice. That's solid. The reaction is the stock's going down. So, yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough when your stock's been just pumping, and then all of a sudden you're in this situation where you beat earnings. Like sometimes it doesn't go right. Microsoft EPS beat as well. $2.17 versus $1.92 was expected. So Microsoft double beat. They beat on revenues. They beat on EPS. And how is their stock being treated after hours? It's down 2.5%. So, that's a tough thing. Starbucks barely beat. So Starbucks did 7.5 billion, 7.3 billion was expected. That's not a big beat. That's not a big beat at all. That's a very, very small beat. That almost you consider it kind of being in line. Starbucks is moving down. Starbucks did beat big on EPS though, $1.01 versus 78 cents. So Starbucks beat big on EPS. They barely beat on revenue. How's that stock being treated after hours? It's down over 2%. So, Hey, by the way, thanks everybody for joining me on the Jeremy Ghetto live stream here today, folks. We have earnings craziness straight from my phone, real reaction in real time. Microsoft's down about 3% right now for those watching at home. So, Microsoft double beat, but it's just, it's just not moving. Look at it, Wall Street doesn't want to buy this stock. It double beat. And it's not good enough. So this is kind of, as we prepare for Apple earnings, this is kind of the thing to worry about. Apple's going to report some great iPhone numbers. Apple's going to report some good numbers overall. But man, when your stock has been moving up, it gets tough. It gets tough to excite Wall Street to say, oh, let me go and buy more of this stock, essentially. So this is what gets tough. Visa just moved lower as well. Microsoft's moving further lower now. Microsoft just hit a new after hours low right now, down 3.4%. So we're going to keep tracking that one and see what happens there. Google earnings are going to be out any moment. And then we should get Visa earnings, and then last earnings up, we should get Apple earnings. Apple should be the last one to report. That's big dog. So Starbucks is now down 2% after hours. So Starbucks, the EPS is definitely very impressive from Starbucks. When you report $1.01 versus 78 cents, that's an impressive beat. But the revenue number for Starbucks is just not good. And, when it comes to Starbucks, this is a company that, you would expect getting, things getting back to normal, work environment getting back to normal. You would expect, really, really impressive numbers, and it's just not that, at least as far as revenue went. Like I said, EPS is nice, so EPS is nice. Microsoft still down about 3% there. Visa and Google earnings should be out any minute. And then last, we're going to get big dog of Apple. So, yeah, and in regards to, by the way, I hope you guys are enjoying this Jeremy Ghetto live stream as always. I appreciate you guys joining me. Much love as always. In terms of Apple, I don't own any Apple shares personally, but I do own semiconductor companies that make up significant portions of their revenue and profits from Apple. Think about Cirrus Logic, think about Skyworks Solutions, think about Qualcomm. Those are 3 stocks I own personally that all make up significant portions of their revenue from Apple. So these are things to kind of keep in mind here. Yeah, Starbucks just, when your stocks have been pumping, if you don't report some ridiculous numbers, you're not rewarded. That's just the bottom line. If Starbucks was at a 52-week low right now, or let's say instead of Starbucks being $123 here today, let's say Starbucks is $90 a share, I bet you Starbucks would be up 7%, 9%, 11% on those earnings. But when the stock's already made that huge move, it is what it is. If Microsoft today is trading at $200 a share or $190 a share, I would bet you any money Microsoft would be up 5-10% after hours right now. But Microsoft's trading at, going into these earnings, Microsoft was trading at what, $290, $280? And, they beat on both their numbers, but the stock's down 2.3%. Because that's what happens. I mean, Microsoft reserve revenue, that's impressive, up 51% in Q4. It's impressive numbers, but when your stock's been moving up and moving up, that happened to Tesla here today. Tesla earnings were disgusting. Those are amazing earnings. Tesla couldn't have done anything better in those earnings. They had all-time net income. Their revenue growth was amazing. Everything's amazing at Tesla. The numbers are the best ever. But at the end of the day, Tesla stock, where'd it go today? It went down. How's Tesla going to move up when that valuation's already moved up so heavy? It gets tough, man. It gets tough. Because then you need Wall Street money, hedge fund money, big money to say, oh yeah, I'm going to go out and buy this stock now. But when the stock's already had this huge move, that's where you run into some trouble there, okay? So these are things to kind of keep in mind. So far, the earnings are as far as the stock reactions, earnings are off to a tough start. They're all red so far. But this happens. This happens in the market when you get all these stocks to have moved up and moved up. Now, the flip side of this is going to happen in small caps, in my opinion, over the next couple quarters. Because a lot of these small caps have moved down, 30%, 40%, 50%. So, exactly what we're going through here is these stocks have performed amazing going into earnings, right? They've come out with good numbers, beats, and yet their stocks are going down, right? We're going to have the inverse of this happen, when small caps start to report more and more. A lot of those small caps stocks have been down huge. If a lot of them just report decent earnings, they don't even have to report great earnings. If they just report decent, a lot of those stock prices will fly high. Why is this? Well, that's the stock market for you. If you have low expectations and your stock's beaten down, if you just report something halfway decent, you move up huge. On the flip side, if you're Microsoft, you beat by $2 billion on top line, you beat on EPS, but your stock's been already had this huge move over the past year, it gets really, really tough. Microsoft would have had to, I don't know what Microsoft could have done to have their stock price go up 5-10% after hours here. It would have had to been such ridiculous beats that you couldn't even imagine it. And it just gets to be impossible. Also, when you're in this cycle of your stock price is doing great, your company's doing great, analysts start to raise numbers more and more and more. When analysts start to raise their numbers more and more and more, it gets hard to beat those numbers, right? Because the expectations become huge expectations now. And all of a sudden you're expected to win the Super Bowl every earnings. And if you don't win that Super Bowl at earnings and you just win a playoff game, it's not enough, right? So for my sports fans, I think you'll understand that analogy. Everybody else might have been lost on that one. But yeah, so far earnings are out rough. We still got Google McDougal up here. We got Starbucks. And then the last one to report here will be Apple. Apple. So we'll see what happens here, guys. But anyways, hope you guys are doing great as always. We're waiting for these next bunch of earnings to come out. Hope you guys are enjoying this Jeremy Ghetto live stream. As always, you know, some of my stocks are reporting Thursday, and then a lot of my personal stocks I own are reporting next week and the week after. This is actually not the biggest week for me in terms of like earnings, but it's a super entertaining week because of all these, you know, these great companies that are reporting earnings. So a lot of people are talking about Corsair to the moon. Yeah, someday, Corsair to the moon. We don't know when that day is, but someday it's gonna happen, man. We need that dang Eagle Fund to chill out if they're selling. So someday we'll be Corsair to the moon. Earnings are my playoffs. Oh, Google numbers out. Google numbers. 60. Oh, wow. Google. Whoa. Okay. Google smashed it, man. Whoa. You're gonna be flipping my flapjacks. Okay, guys. We got the hammer in the building. Google beat by about Google beat by over $5 billion. EPS at $27.26 versus $19 was expected. Oh, Google McDougal came through. Wow. The Google numbers are insane. Whoa. Okay, Google really came with it. Yeah. That's a type of, that's the type of earnings you have to have any sort of positive reaction with your stock price when your stock price has been pumping as Google has been, man. Woo! Wow. That's incredibly impressive. AMD, how did I forget AMD's reporting? So AMD, small beat as far as revenue went, $3.85 billion versus $3.62 billion was expected. So that's decent from AMD there, nothing crazy. We'll see how that stock does as far as its reaction. AMD EPS, 63 cents versus 54 cents. Solid numbers out of AMD. Solid earnings out of AMD. Which, if you just report solid earnings, your stock price is going down right now. But man, Google, wow, the Google number's insane, man. Incredibly impressive out of Google. If Google goes down somehow after hours, man, that's just sad because those earnings were ridiculous. Ridiculous earnings out of Google. Everybody just joining us to give you a recap on kind of what's going on so far, okay? By the way, appreciate you guys joining me on this Jeremy Ghetto live stream. So to recap what's happened so far in this earnings craziness, Microsoft reported good numbers. They double beat. Solid numbers. Their stock's going down, mainly because their stock has been, flying high. And if you want to keep your stock, flying high, you got to report ridiculous numbers, right? We saw Starbucks numbers, okay, not great. That stock's moving down. Google McDougal reported ridiculous numbers. Their stock price is going up. It's not going up huge, though. It's up like 3%. And then AMD just reported earnings, and AMD reported solid, good earnings, I would call it. And we'll see kind of what happens with AMD stock price here as far as that reaction. But the big dog we're still waiting on is Apple. Apple should be reporting within the next 10 to 15 minutes. And when it comes to Apple, man, it doesn't get any bigger than that. So, Mondelez. Let's look at the Mondelez numbers here. Pretty boring. Why the heck would anybody want to own Mondelez when you could own Tattoo Chef? You know what I mean? Like, why own Mondelez when you can own Tattoo Chef? Like, it just doesn't make any dang sense to me. Like, come on, man. Like, Wall Street, you guys got to wake up. Mondelez is old news, man. Tattoo Chef's the new news. Come on, Wall Street. So, oh my goodness. But, yeah, so Microsoft, as far as that reaction, I think it's still negative here. Yeah, Microsoft's down 2%. you know, they double beat and they're down 2%. It's just, you know, the way it goes there. So it is what it is. That's all I'll say about that. Facebook, ooh, I just thought about that. Facebook stock I have, you know, a lot of shares in. Some of you guys might as well. Facebook, thinking about this now, their earnings are tomorrow or Thursday. I can't remember which day. I think tomorrow Facebook earnings are. But with how incredibly strong those Google numbers were, this makes me very, very confident that Facebook numbers are going to be insane. Because usually if Google reports great numbers, Facebook reports even greater numbers. And so, man, wow, I'm thinking Facebook numbers are going to be disgusting. Like if Google beat by that much on revs and on EPS, I think Facebook tomorrow could report even more insane numbers. And by the way, then we got Amazon reporting on Thursday, just so you guys know. But wow. And Google stock could end up actually moving Facebook tomorrow, FB. So this is something to keep in mind. So if Facebook, for whatever reason, makes a nice upward move tomorrow, it will be because of Google. Let's be very, very clear about that. As far as the next day after that, on Thursday, that will be dependent upon what Facebook does, because, you know, Facebook is obviously reporting earnings after the bell tomorrow. So, but man, wow. Ooh, AMD. So AMD's, I got a decent stock price reaction here, up 2%. You know, that's all you can ask for right now. So, and that's all you can ask for, you know, in this market. If you report decent numbers, you know, that is what it is. So now we're waiting on Visa earnings and we're waiting on Apple earnings. Those are the last two stocks we have to report over the next 10 minutes. See what Visa has to say. We were talking about Visa earlier. For those of you guys who just joined us in the live stream, by the way, thanks for joining us on this Jeremy Ghetto live stream. I appreciate you guys being here as always. Much love. For those of you just joined us, we were talking about Visa earlier. Visa's at a $550 billion market cap now. $550 billion. I mean, that's insane, okay? All right, so Mattel just reported, wow, Mattel had a huge beat. That's a surprise. Over $1 billion of revenue from Mattel versus $879 was expected. Nice numbers from Mattel. That's a random solid dividend stock, and man, wow, pretty darn impressive. I wouldn't be surprised if that one maybe moves up a little bit. But update on Microsoft for those wondering, still down 2%. It's been floundering between down 1% and about, the lowest I saw Microsoft after hours was down about 3.5%. So, you know, something to kind of keep in mind there. Mattel also had a profitable quarter when a loss was expected. So Mattel numbers were solid, really, really solid there. So we're still waiting on Visa, still waiting on Apple, and Apple's the big one. Apple, we're talking about, you know, $2.5 trillion market cap on Apple. So, you know, Apple's the biggest weight. Like Microsoft's gonna, so far, we got a messy situation for the NASDAQ looking tomorrow because you got Microsoft looking down, right? Microsoft's been down 2-3%. So that's really, really bad for you know, the NASDAQ because Microsoft's about a $2 trillion market cap. However, then you have Google with a 3% upward move. So that's good for the NASDAQ, right? But the problem is Google's only, you know, a little over $1 billion market cap. So, wow, Google's up now 4%. 4%. Very nice. And for those of you that don't know about Google's numbers were disgusting, man. They were ridiculous earnings. Google reported. They destroyed it. So, but yeah, we're getting a mixed picture. So now it is all up to Apple. The NASDAQ tomorrow is going to move depending upon Apple because you have basically Microsoft's about double the size of Google. And Google's up about twice as much as Microsoft after hours. So it's literally going to come down to Apple here in the next 5-10 minutes to report their earnings. And the NASDAQ is going to move tomorrow based upon Apple's a tiebreaker in this situation. If Apple moves down after hours, get ready for a rough day in the NASDAQ tomorrow. If Apple reports really, you know, insane numbers, which I feel like Apple needs to report pretty much insane numbers to have that stock continue to go up. You got to keep in mind when it comes to Apple, the valuation has gotten up there. I mean, you're looking at a PE, forward P, higher than any time I remember in recent history for Apple. I mean, you're looking at a 30-ish, somewhere around there as far as, You know, I'm going to check right now while we're waiting for those earnings to come out. We're only about 5 minutes away here. Let's see Apple, forward P and PE, because let's see. I mean, it's risen a lot when it comes to Apple. So Apple's trading at roughly about a 33 trailing P right now. Apple's trading at about a 27 forward P. For Apple, I'm telling you guys, those are really, really high numbers. So this is why it is, it is like insanely important for Apple to report some crazy beat, some crazy numbers. And if they don't come in with some disgustingly ridiculous numbers here, you know, don't be surprised at all if that stock falls. Even if they beat numbers and you're like, oh, they beat on revenue, they beat on EPS, they beat on this number, they really got to come with some crazy numbers for Wall Street to buy that stock up after hours here. Okay, so this is a tiebreaker. This is the one that's going to make or break the NASDAQ for tomorrow is Apple here. So I don't know if Visa earnings have come out yet. I think Visa still hasn't reported, I believe. Yeah, I'm not seeing Visa numbers yet, guys. So we shall see, what happens with Visa here. So these earnings are coming in the next 5 minutes, and we're about to look at YouTube TV. By the way, they do this little thing. This is cool, right? Is that not cool? I love that. So I love that, man. It's amazing. So, but wow, I'm thinking things are looking good for Facebook. That's what I'm going to tell you about Facebook. Things are looking really good for Facebook stock. With that move upward after hours for Google McDougal there, and then we got earnings coming tomorrow for Facebook, I'm feeling extremely confident that Facebook's going to have some crazy numbers. Because usually if Google smashes it, Facebook smashes it even more. And so in terms of me and my confidence level around these Facebook earnings coming tomorrow, I'm really, really confident. So we're a mere minutes away now from Apple reporting. So yeah, we got the mixed picture, guys. Here, let me show you this here. We got the mixed picture. You know, Google's up basically twice as much as Microsoft, but Microsoft's basically twice as big. So yeah, Google they tore it up, man. They tore it up. So, it doesn't get better than what Google reported for numbers. That's the bottom line. And that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. If you're going to get your stock to continue to roar higher, you need to report disgusting numbers. So just to reiterate for those who just joined us, Alphabet reported $27 of EPS when $19 was expected, and then they beat on revenues by over $5 billion. Over $5 billion beat in revs. So, wow. That's all I got to say about that. Wow. But that's what Apple's going to need to do. Apple's going to need to report. We're literally like 2 minutes away from Apple reporting. That's what Apple's going to need to do. By the way, update on Starbucks. Starbucks down 2.8% after hours here. The Starbucks numbers they beat, but it was like, The beat was okay? And so if you're not killing earnings and your stock's near 52-week high, good luck moving that stock up right now. If Alphabet only beat earnings and they didn't smash it the way they did, that stock would be down 4% after hours. But because Google came in with such a crazy beat, that stock is up 4% after hours. And so this is something very, very key to keep in mind, guys, when it comes to these earnings. So yes, very, very important. Oh, man, we're literally, let's see. We're less than 2 minutes away from Apple earnings. Apple's the tiebreaker. What's going to happen? Let's see, AMD update. AMD not really doing much after hours, up 1.87%. AMD had very solid, good numbers. It's just, that's another one of those stocks that's kind of been a high flyer. Mattel had really nice numbers, up 3%. Anybody that has that, congrats on that, guys. So, by the way, got to show you my new setup over here, okay? So before the Apple earnings come out, look at the new setup. Look at this, guys. We got the 7-figure trophies all at the bottom. We got the 6-figure trophies all there. We got the play buttons there. Should be financial education, the main channel there. The second channel there, millennial money there. And then whenever this channel, hey, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Whenever this channel hits 100,000 subscribers, we'll have to make room for a 4th plaque there. And then up at the top, we got the Pokies. That's a Pokemon booster box up there, unopened. Unopened Pokemon booster box at the top. So, yeah, got this all situated and set up last night. So, yes. But anyways, that's that. Oh, let's take one look at the Teslas real quick, because I know you guys like to look at the Teslas. Ah, there they are. Yes, Tesla stock. You didn't treat us good today, but it's okay. You treated us good over the last couple of years. Someday, you're going to treat us good again. Oh, and then here, Planet. Yeah, Planet. You didn't treat us good today either, but someday you're going to treat us good again, okay? Someday, baby. We're going to roll again. All right, let's get inside. Those Apple earnings should be out on the Jeremy Ghetto live stream. Here we go, folks. Here we go. Apple should be out any second now. What's about to happen, guys? What's about to happen? Apple earnings, here it comes. Here it comes. Woof.
Up 36% to 81.4 billion. The street was at 73.3 billion. Gross margins 43.3%. iPhone 39.57 billion. That is versus expectations of 34 billion. Services also better than expected, 17.5 billion. Mac 8.24 billion in the quarter. iPad 7.4 billion. Wearables, home and accessories 8.8 billion. Greater China, by the way, up nearly 60% to 14.76 billion. Apple does not provide formal guidance at this time, but we expect color and commentary on the call, which starts at 5 p.m. Eastern. Back to you all.
Being well received, Josh. Thank you. The stock was up a little bit after hours, up 0.8%. More of these numbers.
Whoa. Whoa, Apple destroyed it. Oh my gosh. They just beat revenue by like $7 to $8 billion. They killed EPS by like 30% versus what analysts were expecting. Those numbers were ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, guys. What? Look at I'm speechless. These numbers are disgusting. Oh my gosh, and look at the stock. It's down. Look at the stock. It's going down. It's going down. And you got to be flipping my flapjacks. It's going down. The numbers. It's going down. It's going down. Oh, the numbers were disgusting. Disgusting. Now it's up, but now it's down. Now it's up. Now it's nothing. Now it's up. Oh my gosh. Wow. Holy smokers, this ain't no dang jokers. Wow. Man. Wow. That's tough, man. That's tough. I mean, you're talking about that's crazy. You know, those numbers were ridiculous. It doesn't get better than that. Like literally, from all the numbers I just saw, that's a 10 of 10. That's a 10 of 10 earnings report. They destroyed revenue by like $8 billion. Like beat the expectations by like $8 billion. Like, can you even imagine like making $8 billion in 3 months? Never mind beating your expectations by $8 billion. EPS was ridiculous. A ridiculous beat. They beat by like 30% on EPS, and yet that stock's having trouble even going up. And this is what I try to explain to folks. I'm like, man, when you got these type of stocks that are performing so amazing and they're hitting new 52-week highs and they're right around those 52-week highs, it gets tough. It gets tough to get them to go up, man. Look at this. You know, you would think that stock would be up, 10+% right now on the back of those earnings. I mean, those are ridiculous. Now, the good news is, they did come out with, unbelievable earnings. So the good news about this is essentially for the NASDAQ, now we could be looking, as long as that stock ekes out some gains tomorrow, we could be looking at a good day for the NASDAQ. Because even if Microsoft's down a bit, if you have Apple up a little bit, then you have Google up, right? Google should be up very nicely tomorrow, we would assume. We'll see if the gains hold, right? And then if Google's up big, that will push Facebook up big as well, right? And so if you look at all that, that should be a somewhat good day for the NASDAQ. But man, look at how much trouble Apple's having going up off the back of the most insane earnings ever. You know what I mean? Like, these numbers were insane on Apple, and it's really having trouble even going up. So that's tough, man. That's tough. That's tough. That's all I'm going to say about that. Also, good news is, Apple's iPhone business is amazing. This is great news for companies like I own Cirrus Logic, which has several different chips in the iPhones and will have even newer chips in the future iPhones. Skyworks Solutions, like I own, gets a significant portion of their revenues from iPhones, and they make a lot of the 5G chips that go in the iPhones, and so that's great news. And then on top of that, I also own Qualcomm, a smaller position in Qualcomm, but Qualcomm has chips in the new iPhones as well. But so that's really good news for the semiconductor companies that do business with Apple and get significant portions of their revenue from iPhone. But man, that it's a tough market out there right now when you have Apple report those crazy numbers. Look at the rev, guys. Oh my goodness, look at the rev. Wow, look at that. Apple's cash pile, 190 billion. By the way, look at Starbucks down over 3% after hours. Man, oh man. But this is great news for the semiconductor companies, because that means iPhone business is booming. So anyways, guys, that covers that. I hope you enjoyed this Jeremy's Ghetto live stream with me. I appreciate you guys joining me as always. Don't forget to smash a like before you leave. Much love. I'll try to do one of these every once in a while when we got some huge earnings day. And yeah, man, crazy. What a batch of earnings that was, guys. So once again, thanks so much for joining me. Much love as always, guys. And yeah, have a great day.